Hello everybody, Matthew Street, and welcome to X-Plane 11. So, as the title will say, I'm a total noob at this. I don't know anything about flying other than I've always found it enjoyable and quite interesting. So the closest I've ever come to knowing anything about it is my stepdad used to have a private pilot's license, and he used to have a plane with a few of his buddies. So we used to fly quite a bit. Sometimes before school would even start, we would fly somewhere that, you know, in a car is a couple hour drive, but in a little plane we could get there much sooner. We'd go down there and eat breakfast at one of the little greasy diners at an airport, and then fly back and then go to school. So that was always kind of fun. They had a little Cherokee Tomahawk single engine low wing plane. So anyway, we are going to give this a shot. We are rocking the Southwest today, so let's go ahead and hop right back into this vehicle. I'm going to do things completely wrong that anyone that knows what they're doing is probably going to go crazy, and I'm going to trigger you. My apologies, that's all I can tell you. So let's go ahead. I got a couple routes built in. We're going to do from Dallas up to Little Rock, my home airport. I actually only live about 15 miles from it. I've made this flight what feels like a million times, but obviously nowhere near that. But I have made it quite a bit. You know what? We're just going to make our flight number. How about SWA 308? Sounds good to me. We'll go ahead and throw that into the flight number. We're going to go to YouTube. I'm probably saying that all wrong. Probably won't be able to see this because I think I'm recording the game and not the monitor, but in case I am, there's something I found off flightplanner.com, or let me give you the right site. I'll link it in the description, but where I went is flightplandatabase.com. Yeah, I'm going to make sure I get that right for you. So our profile basically says our first waypoint we need to be our cruising altitude needs to be 28,000 feet. Actually says 32, but there's another one I found that's 28, so we're going to go ahead and up that, or drop it I guess, from 32 to 28. So we're just going to get some autopilot stuff built in here. Sounds good to me. It's not active or anything, but we don't want it to be just yet. We can go ahead and get this shrunk on down. Alright, cool. So we need to go ahead and push back. I have the engines already started, so we are good on that. So let us go into our better pushback. Let's go ahead and pre-plan that. It's pretty cool. So we can actually come back this direction, tell it where we want to go. We'll go with, how about right there? That looks good to me. Alright, so you know what? That looks good. It says connect first. Nah. We'll just go ahead and tell us we are good here. So let's, well, maybe we're good here. I want it right there. Alright, that sounds good.
Grounded cockpit. Tow is driving up.
Alright, thank you. Tow is driving up. So we'll wait on that to get here. And once they are here, I will bring you back in because it's going to take a second. Actually, I'll keep it in there, why not? Yep, there they are. Alright, cool. Let's go ahead and make sure that everybody has their belts on. I've got it on auto. Let's put that back on. So he's connected. Let's go ahead and start that pushback.
Ground to cockpit. Please show me where you want to go.
Yes, ma'am. I'm on it.
Okay. All doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
Excellent. How about right there? And accept that plan by hitting enter. Probably going to tell us to disengage the parking brake here in a moment. Should at least. Gonna get connected to us. Go and keep it on the outside view for this.
Tow connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake. Starting pushback.
Alright, got that brake released. They're starting our pushback. There we go. It's pretty cool. Yeah, there are a million plugins for this stuff, which is pretty cool, and that's one of them I got was the better pushback. There's also the Abby tab, which is pretty cool. I haven't really played much with it, because I think that's more designed for a specific airplane, a custom one that is out there. So I don't really have a whole lot here. Once I actually start learning more about it in the game itself, then I'll probably add some more. But for now, this will do. I am rocking Southwest. That's my favorite airline. Haven't flown with them for a while, because most places I go, they don't. Or they don't have the correct path for where we're going, so. But I do like Southwest. They've always been cool. About got us in position here. So I'm just going to go ahead and line this up here. And we're going to be taking off right here. So we're going to get out, go through this section, roll all the way down, and come back. That's the plan anyway. Alright, let's see. That should work, man. You can go ahead and stop there. It's amazing how something that small can push something this big. Alright, we can stop now. I may have done a little too much there. Okay, perfect.
Operation complete. Go ahead and set the parking brake.
Alrighty. Parking brake is set.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
Thank you, ma'am. I am standing by. Make sure I don't need to tell it to be done. Maybe I do. I'm not sure. Alright. Disconnecting hand signals. So let me go ahead and get back in the plane. No, we can't see it. We'll just do it anyway. Flipped around. Alright. You can get out of here, sir. We're ready. We got places to be.
Tow is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the left. We'll see you next time and have fun up there.
Thank you, ma'am. Not too much fun. That could be kind of crazy. We're already putting people's lives at risk by having me fly them. Let's not try to have fun while we're there. Let's just see if we can't get there safely. Okay, so my ascent rate, everything, all that's going to be way wrong, as is going to be our speed. I promise you that. So anybody that, again, really knows what they're doing, my apologies. I'm a total noob at this. I consider it a success if we get from point A to point B. So he is clear, gave us the hand signal, so we are good to get on out of here. So let's go ahead and get ready. Go ahead and get that parking brake. Go ahead and get my feet on the rudders here. And let's go ahead and start doing this. Alright, up that throttle. And we are taxiing officially, so look at us. Now actually following all these lines perfectly, it's not going to happen. I'm just telling you right now. But we're going to do our darndest. Let me go ahead and slow my roll a little bit there. Alright, vehicle's coming. That's not cool. Yeah, book it, man, book it, because you are right in my way. That's not very safe. Okay, really? Jeez. This isn't LSPDFR. God. I even get traffic in freaking X-Plane 11. Imagine that. Okay. Make sure I get on the runway properly here. Have a plane taking off. Yes, I know to get clearance and all that fun stuff, but ATC is just a little too much for me at this early stages of my experience in the game, so I'm not going to even try attempting that. Come on, let's get going. I know, I had the throttle too high for takeoff. Don't worry, we're not taking off from here. Am I far enough back on the runway? Yeah, we're good. So let's go ahead and start making our turn here. try to get properly aligned. Go ahead and drop our flaps down a couple notches. Make sure I get my line of sight here. Okay, how are we looking on flaps? They're good. Everything so far is good. Let's take off. Those flaps down, we should start getting some automatic lift here in a moment. Without even having to pull on that stick, and that is correct. I did a short takeoff there, didn't we? Okay, so again, apologies because my ascent rate's going to probably kill a lot of people, but we're going to make things happen. All right, let's go ahead and put that gear up as well. Good, it's up. Now it's actually in the action of going up. So we're going to get on that purple line on that radar there. That'll get us on the proper heading. And then I'll go ahead and set that heading, which I believe is going to be around 55-ish or so. And that way we can have our autopilot do its thing. I can go ahead and release my feet off of the rudders, can I? Alright. Try to slowly bring it around. Probably had a little bit of a steep bank angle there right after we left the runway, but it wasn't screaming at me. I have learned a couple alarms, and that's an easy one. Bank angle, bank angle, bank angle. It's like, I know I'm turning. Alright, so we'll go ahead and start turning that off. Oh, that's a little bit quick. Let's go ahead and see what that heading should be, where we're headed. So about 58, 59, somewhere in there. 60 could even do. Yeah, we'll roll with 60 as our heading. I need to go ahead and cut that increase in altitude a tinge. So, okay. Everything is good. I'm going to do heading select. Go ahead and turn it on. So it's going to get us going to... oh, I went too high. Or did I? Yeah, I did. I think 60 is what I said. I think I held down on it for a second. Okay, so we are already at 10,000 feet. Need to slow that roll on that ascent a little bit. That's a little fast, and we're going to lose all of our ground speed right here if we keep that up. So again, I want to get to 28,000 feet. We're going to be in this particular waypoint, Yotub, for the next 17 minutes. We are 84 nautical miles from our next waypoint, which for us is going to be Dean's. Now, how I'm reading it, and I'm probably wrong, it shows on the Yotub waypoint where we are, supposed to be cruising at 28,000 feet. The next one, Dean's, is 23.9, so I'm thinking what that means is that's the altitude we need to actually get to and maintain while we're going through this particular waypoint. And there is an official name for that. It's just kind of informally known as waypoints, I think, or that's just a part of what that's called. The entire leg of it, I forget what it's called, so my apologies. We are going to go ahead and set our airspeed to stick at about 310. That'll work for me. Didn't light up, so I don't know if it's going to hold it or not, but it looks like it. We got our marker there. We're already at 15,000. I think we're good to let people get up and use the bathroom. So we'll go ahead and just turn that to auto. And we will just get into flight. So we got some music going in the background. Non-copyright, I will note. So I'm not going to talk 100% throughout this like I would at LSPDFR or a Red Dead 2. Because I don't know if I have enough to say about this game yet, because, again, I don't know what I'm doing. Let's see here, just want to check. We've still got that set for 28, so we're good. That is us making it so our commands for the pilot, that would be the co-pilot, are what's interfacing with the autopilot. So we are getting our altitude on up there quite handily. Still at 100% of my throttle. I probably want to back that off in a little bit, but I just want to get up to the altitude we need, and then we'll go ahead and ease off over the tinge. And I keep saying game because it is, but it's actually obviously a simulation. And if I'm not mistaken, they actually use this, some people do, to actually train pilots. So it's pretty cool how realistic it is. I like that. We're getting ever closer to that 28,000 number. We're losing some ground speed here, but not terribly so. And I want to be closer to that 310, but we're going on a pretty steep ascent still here to get up to our 28,000. I'm going to leave this off, which is the altitude hold, but what's cool and that I've noticed in my couple practice flights is that once we get near that 28, that'll automatically engage. Just doing a double check of everything. Flaps are up, so we're good. Gears up. Go and get us a little bit of outside view here, see what it looks like. Pretty cool looking. Ah, nice. Got the contrail there. Uh-oh, nobody's flying it. Empty cockpit. That's a little scary. Alright, that altitude hold, yep, just kicked in. So what are we sitting at? Right about where we want to be. Starting to get that ground speed back up. I'm going to go ahead and drop her from 100 down to about 85 or so. I don't know anything about how that's officially supposed to be. I do every bit of it off of feel. So, again, anybody watching that knows what they're doing, just understand I'm a noob. Alright, that's starting to slow down. The one thing this does not have, as realistic as it is flight attendant. So I have to go get my own water. So I'm going to do that while we're on autopilot. I'll be back with you here in a second. Alright, that airspeed is quite high, so let me back that down closer to 80-ish on our throttle percentage there. It we are 4.7 minutes left of Yotub until we get to Dean's. See all that right here in 35 nautical miles. And once we reach the Dean's, my altitude profile shows we should be at 23.9. So we're backing it down a little bit, 4,100 feet to be exact. So once we get closer to about 2 minutes or so out, I'm going to start dropping that down. And since I know I am just going by feel and not doing any of this the proper way, those that do know, feel free to let me know in the comments the correct way to do this. As far as my setup, I am currently using as my rudders Logitech pedals that I have, that I got with the Logitech shifter and the G29 racing wheel. And the joystick I have is the Thrustmaster T16000. This is how I have it configured. That I'm using that slider as my throttle, and that's my flaps up, flaps down, my gear. These are my reverse thrusters. Obviously the stick itself to do all my pitch and roll and so forth. The trigger is my park and brake. And that's pretty much the main functions I have. Also, these two side are my trim. That pitches it down, that pitches it up. So, probably used the incorrect term on that, but my apologies. This is really cool though, I like it. I would really like to get a yoke and an official throttle. And I've been thinking about doing that. I just haven't quite pulled the trigger yet. Let's go ahead and get our heading a little more correct than we are now. So that's going to get dropped off to... Oh, I was doing the wrong one there. There are 2 dials on this technically. Let me actually move over where I can see that and do it properly. I'm going to get that back on 20. There we go. We're going to drop that down. Let's go ahead and back into the default position so I'm lined up here. Alright, that's a little more online. Could still be better, but we're going to stay close. So we make these adjustments now. We're 2.8 minutes out. But yeah, if y'all have any recommendations on a yoke, let me know. I probably want to get some rudder pedals with it officially so it has the toe brakes, the whole 9 yards. But the pedals I have work, so I'll probably just for now get a yoke. But then again, I don't know, I'm kind of torn. My next purchase, since the joystick works fine for this, I'm thinking about getting a Go XLR. It's pretty cool. It's kind of made more for streaming, but it could be used in something like this where I have music going in the background. You can adjust volume level for multiple apps. I think it has 4 sliders, the Go XLR, so I could just with one box, you know, adjust my mic volume, the game volume, whatever other app. So like the music player I'm using, you could do all that, and that's pretty cool. And then you can also, it has sensors and some other cool features, but really I just like the volume control of it. So I might get one of those. And yeah, they're like 500 bucks, so they are not cheap. But I'd really like to try one out because I don't know if what I want could be simplified with a different device. Just be something a little more simple. Didn't really have a need to do that, but we're going to do it anyway. Kind of get a little more online, then we'll swing it back around. You know what? We'll actually go ahead and put it back where it was. We're going to get lined up on the route we will be taking. We're a minute out from being there. But yeah, the Go XLR, it looks really cool. I just know there might be a device out there that can do what I want to. If it's not as fancy, that's the thing about the Go XLR. It's really user-friendly from what I can tell. So there may be some, maybe not as user-friendly, but it's cheaper and probably just as effective, if not better, that I may look into. But I'm really kind of looking hard at that Go XLR. They have a Mini that's a little bit cheaper. I forget the exact price, and it looks cool. But I just have a feeling it would be for me like my Stream Deck. I got the Stream Deck Mini, and I love it, don't get me wrong. But yeah, just kind of kicking my own butt because I wish I would have just gone ahead and spent the extra money and got the big one. But it works. Plus, I haven't done a lot of streaming anyway. I am going to start doing streaming. I've kind of got in my brain working out what the schedule I want to do. I'm not going to be one of those streaming every night people, but I do want to stream a few times a week. Alright, now you saw me, I dropped that altitude hold from the 28 we were cruising at to 23.9, because that is, again, the altitude profile we have built. Since we are dropping and we need to be there, again, how I'm translating is I need to be on that pretty much now, because we are on Dean's. It just switched over. I'm going to go ahead and back that throttle off a tinge, because I do want to gain some airspeed. I want to be running closer to, what did I have it set as, 310 on my speed hold. I want to get it more to that, but I also don't want to go whizzing past it and shear off our wings. We're still, okay, now we're starting to lose some altitude, so that's good, but we're going to start seeing that airspeed, or excuse me, ground speed skyrocket. So let's go ahead and chill out on that ascent just a tinge. We're kind of dropping at a heavy rate here. Let's put that nose up just a little bit more. There we go. Go ahead and back that throttle off, because we're already at the 310. That looks a little better. Getting closer to that just under 2,400, excuse me, 24,000, not 2,400. That'd be kind of freaky. Oh, we're getting there. Go ahead and point that nose up again, because I'm building that airspeed. That warning I know. I've learned that one. That's, slow down, jackass. Alright, I will. Okay, we're about there, which means that autopilot, yep, just kicked on. That odd altitude hold, it'll automatically, I've noticed that, it will automatically kick in once you're near it. So now I can let go of the stick for a bit, because we've got our heading where I want it. We can actually go ahead and bump that over a notch up to 61. That'll get us a little more in line where we need to go. We've got our altitude held at 23.9. We're about there. Cool. I'm going to go ahead and up that throttle, because we're starting to lose our ground speed, and need to maybe, that's fine where it is, but it could be knocked up a tinge. Found running between 80 and 85, running off my feel, will generally get us to about where we need to be on our ground speed. We're kind of holding pat at about almost 302. So we'll bump this to about 85%. See where that gets us. Slowly climbing, so that's good. So everything's stable so far. Again, I know I'm not doing things right. I've said that 100 times, probably will 100 more, but I consider it a success if we get off the ground, get from point A to point B. That's all I care about. Until I start learning properly how to do this. It's so much fun anyway, but yeah, what I was saying earlier, this seems like a really fun game to possibly stream, because that's a good chance to kind of sit back. I know sometimes streamers do Q&As, and I'd like to do something like that. I think it'd be kind of cool. But I am a gamer, so I would like to have something going on in the background, but something where I can interact with y'all. And something like this, it does require my attention and focus, but there are periods of time where I can just kind of sit back and talk with y'all, because autopilot. So I am going to do that. We're going to go and back that throttle off, because we're still, no, we're hovering right around 311, 312. It won't hurt to back it off a couple percentage points. There we go. Speaking of the Go XLR, if y'all have any recommendations on similar products, or if you just want to vouch for that, let me know. Because that seems like a pretty cool product that will come in handy when I do start streaming regularly. Up to this point, I've started off streaming Red Dead 2. I need to do more of that. I love that game. So I will get into that more in the future, but I started off streaming that, and then I did a little bit of LSPDFR. And intend on continuing to go back and do some more LSPDFR. I've done ATS. I haven't done any videos of ATS, American Truck Simulator, on my YouTube channel, but I have streamed it, and it's pretty fun. It's enjoyable, but I would like to do this one. I know there are a lot of people that have made some great videos on all this. Like I showed you earlier, we had the engine started. I have that done for me. Starting up an engine on these things is not like turning a key in a car. I knew that, obviously. It's not just that simple. But, man, it's crazy how much goes into it. There was about a 30-minute long video. There are a lot of them out there, just the one I happened to click on that walks you through it step by step and even has a link to the 3-page long document of all the steps you go through. It was really cool. But I got about 10 minutes in and thought, you know what, I'm not committing this to memory right now. So I'm just going to give up at the moment. I'll readdress it, because I don't even know where everything is. I know this is my seatbelts, so there you go. I know enough about autopilot to be dangerous. I know I can do a lot more with it, but I was previously in my test flights, and I got about halfway through my flight every time, and then my plane shut off. And that whole, you know, not being able to turn it on thing, that's a problem. So, yeah, we pretty much just use my heading select and then the altitude hold, and that's fine for me. Plus, I still get to interact with the plane quite a bit, not just get it in the air and then sit back for the entire flight and do nothing. So at the Deans, we're at 1.6 minutes away from it, and our profile says we should be at 16.1 when we get to the next one, which is Nepre, N-E-P-R-E. I'm probably butchering how you announce that, or pronounce that, I should say. We're going to go ahead and get that set up for 16.1, and we're going to go and back off that throttle, take off our altitude hold, start lowering this baby a little bit. Hopefully at an acceptable rate of speed. I obviously don't want to make everybody pass out back there. Already climbing that ground speed big time, so back off the throttle a bit. There we go, the altitude hold just released. We are 6 nautical miles away from being in the Nepre. And again, how I'm interpreting that is we need to be in that Nepre, we need to be at that altitude. I may be wrong. Well, I'm probably wrong. I don't want to say maybe. We know the odds of me being wrong are very high in this case, but we're going to go ahead and get that reduced on down. This is where it'd be nice to have that Go XLR, because this is one of those songs that's pretty quiet. Back that throttle off. Need some assistance getting this baby down, because we are in the Nepre right now, and only 5 minutes through it, so we're actually getting pretty close to already being near Little Rock. So we may just kind of blow past that 16.1 and start reducing more so. Let's go and get our alignment here. There you go. Get a better heading. We're just going to drop this down to about 10. Maybe a little bit lower. We'll go 8. Again, I do all of this by feel. What I need to do is pay attention to Jeff Fabiano, because I watch almost everything he does. I'm not shy about it. I've said it before. He's my favorite YouTuber, and the inspiration why I even do it. But I know he's done a lot of X-Plane and other sims, I believe, over the years. And he's doing a lot of it streaming right now, since of the obviously the quarantine and self-isolating. He's been doing that for a few weeks already. I know he's been doing quite a bit of streaming. Go ahead and start knocking that throttle off more, because we are picking up some speed. We're about to have that alarm going off on me. I've always enjoyed watching him do those games, but I've never really paid close attention. Well, you can bet your butt I'm going to now that I'm playing the game. This is one of those I've been eyeing for years, all the different X-Planes in the series. Just never got it till recently and thought, this is going to be fun. And it is. That's cool. Alright, that ground speed's starting to reduce. We've got a pretty decent profile going here on our altitude drop. We're not just slamming us down. It is quick, but it could be worse. It has been. And this is just kind of my first go-around test, so hopefully it goes well. I did actually record an episode earlier with it, the same flight, and found out, word to the wise, anybody that plays this and wants to record, with Shadow Play, you cannot do it full screen. It's got to be windowed. I guess the file structure or whatever it's written in this game, it does not work with Shadow Play. in full screen, but it will in windowed. So this is just kind of testing to see how that goes. A lot of times in this situation I've said before that, well, so it'll probably never see the light of day. It normally does anyway, but this one I'm not saying. This is going to be released. I'm just hoping that it goes smooth. Because landing is the most difficult part for me, probably for most people. Getting the hang of it. In that earlier episode I had like the perfect landing. Of course I would, right? Not when I was recording. Well, recording, but not when it could work. But the landing is a little difficult. Apparently for me, it's trying to figure out the right altitude to be at. I know landing, obviously, when you're there, but like at 15 miles or 20 miles out, what do you need to be at? I don't quite know. You gotta pay attention. And a lot of times what I've done before is just end up not overshooting the runway, but landing late and then kind of overrunning it. So that's obviously not something we're going for here. We're hoping for a smooth landing. Steadily keeping that altitude drop going. Keeping that airspeed at the about the 309, 310 range, which is okay by me. That ensures that we get to where we need to go on time, hopefully. Knock that heading over a tinge so we can get on course where we need to be. It's pretty. It's a beautiful game. Or sim. I keep saying game. This is a sim. I heard this on going through kind of YouTube's free music download that's non-copyright. I heard this one. It reminded me of, what is that movie? That old Eddie Murphy cop movie from like the 80s or something like that. I think Beverly Hills Cop, I think it was. I haven't seen that forever. It just reminds me of that theme, so I had to get it. The song is even called Retrograde. Alright, we're approaching 11,000 feet. We got 3.5 nautical miles left of this waypoint. I had it set at 8, didn't I? I'm going to go ahead and up that to 10. Yes, I know, we're going fast. I'll slow down, I promise. Alright, so it's going to go ahead and take over for us. Now we're starting to climb a little bit, so I want to go ahead and drop that on down. We'll turn this off so it will auto-engage when we get near it. 0.2 minutes away. 0.1. So we're about to see what the final leg. It's going to be 75 nautical miles out. So I'm again going to get us to that 10,000 mark. It's taken over for me, so that's good. And back up the volume a tinge on that music. Cool, so we're going to cruise here for a while. I figure once we get to around, probably around 40, 35 or 40, so about half from where we are now, we'll start trying to get her down all the way. One thing I've got to learn how to do, I read a little bit up on it, but my brain just wasn't quite grasping it in the amount of time I took to look at it. How to get lined up for the runway from a long ways out. Because right now what I'm doing is, I can tell you on this one because I've made this flight not only in real life a million times, but just doing it in this game. In this direction we're headed, let's say this black box is our area here. If we're headed this way, the runway actually runs like this. So what I need to do is learn how, you know, when I'm 30, 40 miles out, we're actually lined up straight on. I haven't yet. I almost have to wait till it gets in my sight and then start cutting over. So I'm probably going to try to cut over a little bit earlier than I have been. We'll see how that goes. Everything's holding good. We are losing a lot of airspeed here. That's because I'd backed that off big time on our descent. So let me go ahead and jack that up back to around 85-ish or so. And go for around 80. just having to fly by feel on this stuff because I don't know what the official how you do it is. Hey, 80 on the dot. There you go. Now we're sitting at ground speed. Pick up big time. So we're still 66 minutes out. Kick back and listen to music for a couple minutes. Back that throttle off big time because we saw that ground speed shooting up, didn't we? We're just over 50 nautical miles out. Let's go ahead and drop that back down to about 65. drop down to about, I'll go with 7,500. That altitude hold off. So I go ahead and start pointing that nose down. We'll go ahead and reduce that throttle. There, we'll let the altitude hold. Just kind of slowly do this. So we can't get a bit of a view. So I'm going to have to do this visual. I'm going to have to spot it, but I know if I come in too high, I'll miss it. Won't see it till we're right on top of it. If I come in too low, we just won't see it, period. So I want to kind of play that middle ground. We're going to go and point that nose down. I'm going to try to get there relatively quick since we're only 6 minutes out. So let's go and back that throttle off. That way we don't get our ground speed at about Mach 17 coming in, because that won't be good for anybody. Yeah, landing's the toughest part for me, but more or less getting lined up. You can actually start a flight at 3 nautical miles out or 10 nautical miles out. Now, it actually starts you at the proper altitude. Your throttle will be whatever you have it set to, but that's a quick adjustment. But you're pretty much set up for success on that, and I do pretty well at those. That's not too much of a problem. But doing it on my own, a complete flight, and again, since I don't exactly know how to get lined up properly miles out, I know we're going fast, I'll back it off. But since I don't, that gets a little more difficult for me. So we're going to try to cruise at about 7,500 feet. We're about there. The auto altitude hold should be kicking in any second now, and it's there. Go ahead and let it do its thing for a minute. Once we get to around 20 nautical miles out, I'll probably drop it down to around 5,000. The airport is going to be just before the Arkansas River, so we're going to be looking out for that. But there's a lot of water around here. That is just how Arkansas is. So it can be easily confused which body of water I'm looking for. Alright, so we're about where we need to be. We're going to go and up that throttle a bit because we're dropping. I don't want it to be too high, so we were actually probably pretty good. I'll probably keep it around half power. So I need to get that low. That way, if when we do spot the runway, we aren't, again, coming in way too fast and we can actually set her down. So I'm going to go ahead and set this to about 4. That'll work for me. There, let go. So now we can do it. Go ahead and turn off autopilot altogether, actually. That way I have full control. Because I know I'm going to want to go a little bit right starting about now. That way I have a way to try to line up to that runway properly. I don't want to be gaining altitude, though. Let's keep that nose in a downward trajectory. We are 16.9 nautical miles out. I think I spot the runways. At least I hope I have. I think that's them right there. So we're going to go ahead and jut back on out to our right a little bit. Not doing a legit base and final here, but we're just going to work within the confines of my abilities. Yep, those are the runways, so I have enough distance out where I spotted them. I should be able to hopefully get us a good attempt at a landing here. Not saying I'm going to stick it or anything, but I'm going to at least set myself up as good as I can for me. back off that throttle to about 45-ish. We need to start descending. We are a little too high. We're good with how far out we are, but I want to make sure we aren't coming into the airport, or the runway, that is, at 220 knots or anything. Right at that 10 nautical mile mark right about now. Go ahead and do our first level of flap so we can start slowing down here. Gotta remember to get my feet ready eventually. Okay, we need to go ahead and cut power. Throttle, that is. Get some more flaps going. We're now at 5,000. Our sink rate's probably going to start hitting us here in a second. We're 7 nautical miles out. I'd like to go down a little bit faster, but we are getting there. We're going to lose that altitude. That airspeed's dropping, so let's go ahead and give it a little more power. Ground speed. I keep screwing that up, I know. My bad. Let's give me a view where I can actually see what I'm doing here. Does mean I don't see my airspeed or ground speed anymore, but that's okay. We can kind of gauge it from here. We look to be pretty good. If anything, might need to up that power. Yep, it's telling me that, isn't it? I got it. Don't worry about it. Go ahead and go full flaps. All right, there we go. Go ahead and check in on that ground speed. Yep, we need to go ahead and reduce power. 1,000. Alright, 1,000 feet.
Too low. Green.
Nah, we're fine, trust me.
Hold up.
Nope, we're good.
Hold up.
We're good.
Hold up. 300. 200. Sink rate.
I had to check that gear real quick. I thought I put it down. Apparently I had not. Okay. Let's get her on down.
Too low. 20. 10.
Not the best landing, was it? Come on, thrusters, kick in for me. Okay, this is not good, not good, not good, not good, not good. Those thrusters kicked in a little late for me. But hey, you know what? They kicked in, that's what matters. I'm not taking off. Chill out. Alright, well, I used every bit of runway on that one, didn't I? So we're gonna do a replay of that landing, which was absolutely god-awful. But hey, you know what? I got us down eventually. That's what matters. Took it a second for those reverse thrusters to come on in for me, but that's okay. Bit of a wide turn there. Alright. So I'm just going to taxi somewhere. I don't know where yet. Hopefully we got the gate up here. I can go ahead and slow my roll a tinge, can't I? No reason to be going that fast. But hopefully y'all enjoyed that flight. It wasn't too bad. I think once I start getting my alignment better from miles out, that'll help. Go ahead and again drop that throttle because we are booking it down this taxiway. crazy. Okay, we're gonna off-road it in the plane. We are nowhere near a gate, so that's alright though. We're just gonna call it right here. Get that brake going, cut that throttle. And let's check out that replay. Go back and check the landing. Alright, about there will work for me. Maybe. You gonna play? Yeah, again, I looked over, it's like, I thought I put my gear down. Apparently I had not. So, very last minute I did that. You know what, we can go a little bit faster than that. If I knew how to turn that HUD back on, so I could, I would, but I don't. So we'll just watch it from here. See how ugly it really was. But hey, we're alive. I guess that's what's important. Hopefully, as I play this more, and I'm sure it will, I will drastically improve. This was the, oh crap, my gear moment. We just like to cut things close, right? Oh yeah, that was bad. Oh, man. About put the nose in the ground. Finally got them reverse thrusters going about right here. They made that much concrete for the runway, I thought, why not use it? So, there we have it. Cool, well we're going to call that an episode. Hopefully y'all enjoyed that. Certainly let me know in the comments all those things we discussed about in the video. If you did like it, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and notify the whole 9 yards. And y'all have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Thanks. Bye.